Welcome back if you are returning. This week is the kitchen makeover. I'm finally finished, well 98% finished with my moody, nature inspired cottage kitchen makeover, and it's perfect for the cooler months ahead. I wanted it to feel like stepping into a cozy autumn day. You know, the ones where the air smells faintly of cinnamon and wood smoke, and everything you touch feels like it's a little bit time warm and familiar somehow. I wanted there to be a cozy kind of nostalgia in every corner. I've used vintage elements, thrifted oddities, and the kind of rustic homeliness that you feel in this kitchen really makes you want to linger over a cup of tea or a hot chocolate. Started with a movie and then this picture, and the Practical Magic kitchen blends a kind of farmhouse coziness and a bohemian enchantment. It's a place that feels like it belongs equally to sort of a witch brewing potions or to a grandmother baking bread on a chilly afternoon, and I absolutely love it. So I was inspired, and when I found the wallpaper I thought, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go dark and moody and kind of run with the theme. Obviously it's not an exact, it's completely different shaped kitchen, it's all different. This is just, it was my interpretation of. So the wallpaper I used in the top on the picture rail, and then I used this was a mixed colour that was from the wallpaper, so there is no colour that I can name that I can give you. This was mixed at the shop, and it was interpretation of a colour that was in the wallpaper. So I painted below the chair rail in this beautiful green, and then we just made a chair rail and added it around. I then moved some of my shelves, and I put this is in the far corner, and then I've picked up extra shelves. This was the bookshelf that I made last week, and I've literally just added in lots more shelving, lots more storage, and plants. So this was the existing kitchen, and this is the shelving unit that we made a little while ago, and it was supposed to sort of mimic an old Victorian kitchen. And we love this, it's been absolutely amazing, but I wanted to streamline everything, change out all my containers to glass, and try and keep everything out and convenient. So I wanted shelves on the counters to be basically clear, but I wanted shelves with items that we use every day for cooking to be in glass jars, as we did with the water container. So I have been collecting jars for a while. I decided to move my pots. These have been above the stove for a while, but I find they're always covered in like a fine layer of grease. So I've washed them all up, cleaned them properly, and I'm just going to put something for display above the stove, and then put the pots on top of this brown unit here on the left. These are the extra shelves that I've added in. I bought some from above the window in the other side of the kitchen, and then just added these. I've thrifted everything, as I always do. And then what I'm doing is I'm changing out everything on this top shelf, and I'm moving everything around on this other shelf. And then these will be for display, mostly with the jars that I'm repurposing. So most of these are new. New to me, I should say. They're all, I think 2 or 3 of them are brand new. Everything else is thrifted. Of course, I have sterilised the ones that are going to be taking food items, and then just given everything else a really good wash with hot soapy water. You can see they're all different shapes and sizes, and I also eventually want to put all our spices in the same jars. I've been saving jars as well. I painted all the lids gold with gold spray. If I had copper spray, I would use that. If I do find a copper spray that I like, I will repaint all the lids in the copper spray. These are the little labels, the apothecary labels that I've kind of made just on the printer. I just used my, I have a Mac, and I just used the business card setting. Just then cut them all up. I pasted them onto the jars with the waterproof Mod Podge, covered them in a layer of the waterproof Mod Podge, and that way if they get any marks or stains on them, I can just wipe everything off. labels are all done, and we decided we needed a tea coffee station, and we found this old fireplace. It was $15. It's mostly wooden. Turns out it's a fireplace and a bar, which I thought was really strange. It's got 2 open cabinets on the side. The top opens up and there's like a glass in the back and a piece of like a tray that comes down. You can see here, and it is an actual bar. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all the coffee and tea stuff in this to keep it out of the way. And it will have another layer, another surface, because I never have enough counter space. I'm going to use storage on this. In the open part, we're going to use it for the dog's bowl. So what we're going to do is we're going to put shelves in there. One of the bottom shelves is going to be with the dog's bowls in them, and then the top shelf is just going to be quite high, and then just for storage for dog treats and things like that. So I'm going to paint this all up, put new knobs on it. I'm painting it the Hail Navy, which is the same colour as the other cabinets in the kitchen. And then this is going to go in that one alcove, and there it goes. It's a little big, but I'm going to come back to that afterwards, but it looks just amazing. I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. I needed some more botanical art, and I'd recently thrifted these lovely frames. So I've got some gold rub and buff on the outside of the edges, which gives it a nice antique look. Then I've added this lovely burnt orange velvet ribbon on the, like an L shape, on the top corners of each of the picture frames. On top of that, I also add another piece of green velvet, and then I'm taking a wax stamp, which you would use when you seal a letter or you're sending a card or something. I'm going to use them, but what I'm doing, I'm not doing them directly onto the velvet. I've made them on a piece of aluminum foil. You can leave the foil on the back if you're using hot glue. That way the hot glue won't melt the wax. But here I've just used regular glue, and that one stayed on. But all you do is you take a little candle that comes in the box, and you heat the wax in this little spoon, and when you've got enough wax, you pour it out onto the paper, or in this case it will be the tin foil, and then before it cools down you put the stamp in it, and it leaves the impression of whatever, whether it's an initial or a shape. I do have a few different sets. I have my initials, and I also have this new one now, which is the little bumblebee, and it just looks so cute, and it is very authentic looking, and it is also very nostalgic. I wanted to change up this little chalkboard that I wanted to put on a shelf. I gave it a good clean with rubbing alcohol to get all the sticky marks off, and then I had this little set of like I guess they were like miniature posters. This was from the Timber Hall from last year, and I've been waiting to use them, so I just stuck them all the way around, and then once they were done I trimmed them down, and once it gets into focus, gave it a good coat of Mod Podge, and again used the gold rub and buff around all the edges, and it's completely transformed this little chalkboard. And I just wanted to show you the finished Botanical picture frames. These are picture frames that stand up, so I'm not hanging them on the wall, I'm putting these on the shelves. Gathering a few things together, obviously the glasses you saw, I imagine they're very part of the apothecary look. I also managed to find some gorgeous mustard velvet curtains. I've gathered together a lot of my candlesticks. I've not used all of them, some of those are waiting for Halloween, but other than my own pots and pans, I've been picking up as much copper as I can and gathered it from around the house. Everything else has been thrifted, including my copper mugs. As always, I collect artificial greenery. So I've had a big collection of that waiting to be used. And then apothecary pictures, botanical pictures. I've got my taxidermied moths and butterflies out. And again, anything that goes with that theme I've been sort of picking up along the way. And also fairy lights, because I don't think this kitchen would be complete without some fairy lights. So let's put it all together and see what we've come up with. We start, this is coming out of the office, this is through the back door. I haven't filled this wall out yet. I have got lots more pictures to go up here, but it's not done yet. As I said, I was finishing this off. I've had the injury. I'm still not 100%, so I didn't want to do too much, but I wanted to finish the video for you. So there's still a few things that aren't finished. I will point out at the end what's got to be done, what's got to be finished. First of all, these curtains, they are not finished. I picked up 2 panels and I've cut them in half and made 2 sets of curtains out of them. So they both need to be hemmed, they both need to be sewn up, so they're not ironed because I'm not finished sewing them yet. So please don't put in the comments about them, I should have ironed them. Yes, I should have ironed them, but I wanted to put them up to show you the look of the kitchen, which is basically finished. Otherwise this video, it might be out in another 2 or 3 weeks if everything was 100% finished. So again, please don't comment on them curtains not being ironed. They will be ironed when it's all done, and if you wait till the end of the video, there's still a few jobs that need to be finished and I'm pointing those out. But all in all, this vignette is absolutely gorgeous. I love how those shelves turned out in the window, and the little art pieces that I've done have turned out really nicely. The window has got some real greenery, but most of the kitchen is artificial, because it's too dark in the one part of the kitchen to sustain any florals. So, but it really has a lovely, cozy and natural feel to it. Since it's been done, everyone that's come in has commented how welcoming it feels, and how not just whimsical, but it's like a hug. It really feels like the room is embracing you and welcoming you at the same time. So here is the almost finished coffee and tea stand. You can see we need an area where we put the plugs because the fridge runs from this plug. But it's great. I like it. It's nice and high. Haven't put too much on here other than the coffee and the tea stand. We've put the chalkboard behind because obviously first thing in the morning when you have your coffee and tea, it's a great place to have a chalkboard, so you've got all those little reminders for the day ahead. And inside the opening there, I've put all the tea and the coffee, so it's a great little corner. And of course there's the curtains that haven't been ironed, so they will be finished, and I will be showing you all the little finished jobs at the end. I decided to paint the woodwork and the pantry in the green, and I'm very pleased with how that turned out. I think it's lovely. It looks great, and this artwork is a framed needlepoint, and I've had this for years, and I think it looks gorgeous in this spot here. I think this part of the kitchen has probably had the biggest impact. I've added all these shelves on the back here, and I think it's transformed this space. It looks so nice. Lots of greenery, lots of copper, various different items. It's great for displaying seasonally, and it's also great for displaying things that you use every day. I've got my vitamins and things that I have in my glass jars that I've changed out, a couple of little Halloweeny things, basically fall. But again, so many shelves, there's lots of room for everything. I've got a little sage bundle there, and I've got a couple of little items that I've made, but and of course the lighting, the candles. I have lots of candles. I will be putting more up as the season goes on. The top shelf is lots of greenery, lots of little decor pieces that I made previously, candles, etc. There's my lovely Fortnum & Mason musical biscuit tin. Again, gone with that fall theme. I did move my pans. I cleaned all of my pans. I don't have them polished because I use them all the time, and I'd be polishing them all the time. So I've got my lovely fall picture in the background, moved my pans to the top of this cabinet, and just put some decorative copper pieces above the stove so that I'm not always watching them. They look good and I don't have to keep washing them to use them. On this shelf, we've managed to use the vintage jars that I found recently. I sprayed the lids and then covered them with rub and buff. Those are the stuff that we use every day, the oils, the salt and pepper, things like that. So we've kept everything out we've tried to put everything in glass jars. Again, copper, big bunch of lavender, which makes the kitchen smell gorgeous. This beautiful picture just reminds me of home. It's called When the Cows Come Home, and my mum used to have a saying. I can't remember what it is now. It kind of makes me sad that I don't remember what it is, but it just reminds me of home. Top shelf is a kind of a mixture, lots of tins, old biscuit tins, vintage tins, lots of transferware, and a lovely string of copper twinkle lights which just look gorgeous at night. As I said, there are some finishing touches. I didn't get to finish everything. Hubby is making me a shelf for above my sink, just for my soap dishes, all my little things, my little bits and pieces, and maybe a little bit of artwork. That will clear up more counter space for me. We do not have an awful lot of counter space, that's why I keep adding areas. This here is our dumping ground, so we'd like to keep this clear, but we also need a charging station, so we want to build something probably long and deep at the back where we can put all our things to charge, but he'll still have a place where we can sort of dump things and a place where everything's sort of organized from. This is the area where that cabinet comes out just a little bit too far, so hubby is going to build me a flat cabinet against the wall that covers the back of this unit, and I'm going to put my cutting boards in it, so it's going to be higher than the blue unit but fit in that space there and hopefully look intentional. There are a few areas in the kitchen that are not completely finished. I have a piece of trim to go in here that I have to paint and stick up, but it's in a cabinet that is up on the top shelf, and I can't get it yet because of my arm, and I don't want to keep asking my husband to keep doing things. He's been so good and so helpful, so once I'm properly better I will do that. Also, I need to ask, should I paint this the same green or should I leave it in this yellow? It's like an off-white. The problem I have with this is in this part of the kitchen, I think if I do the green on all the remaining walls, which is this lot, it might be too dark. This part of the kitchen is a little narrow. Even with the pot lights, it's quite dark. So I'm thinking I should leave it light, maybe paint it white. Let me know what you all think. This is the other part where I ran out of steam when I had my injury. I've got to wallpaper this little piece of wall. And just generally finish off. I ran out. I didn't want to ask again. I didn't want to ask hubby to finish things off for me. I will be adding, as I said, more artwork to this wall. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my kitchen makeover, and we'll see you next time.